Hello everyone, The Nerdy Steve here, and today I will be featuring a Boros Aggro artifact deck in Historic. The list is in the description below. I'm going to talk a little bit about the plan of the deck, and then we'll play a match. So, let's go. As Historic is going to be, I think, the Open or Qualifier next month, I wanted to start getting into it a little more, and I found this deck on, I don't know where, and so I didn't make it, and it's been so fun and a blast. So the main premise of this deck, so it's a Lurrus deck, so everything is very, very low to the ground and it's very, very aggressively costed. But we have the card Retrofitter Foundry, which does a lot of stuff, but the main thing that it does is you can sacrifice a Thopter token to create a 4/4 colorless construct. So on turn 1, you can Retrofitter Foundry and cast an Ornithopter, and then turn that Ornithopter into a 4/4. And the same thing with the Yotia Declares War's Thopter token from the first stage. And the Barbed Spike Thopter token, right? And so that's like the basic gist of where a lot of the straight power level comes from for this deck, but it has a lot of other aggressive synergies with Toolcraft Exemplar attacking for 3 damage very early on. Ingenious Smith grows really, really big, as well as finding you more aggressive pieces and combo parts. And you also have Michiko's Reign of Truth, which can pump up an Ornithopter to really, really huge levels very, very early on. And that's kind of what this deck does. It just applies an unrelenting amount of pressure, and it's very, very consistent in how it does it. So, with all that being said, let's go play some games and see how it works. So we will play first. I also have Luigi here, who kind of wants to say hi, right? So this is an unfortunate hand in that we don't know if we're gonna want the red or the white. We're gonna keep it because we're definitely gonna do it for white. And we will Toolcraft Exemplar here. And hope that our Yotia Declare War kind of will eventually get the red mana for it. Ooh, so we can get the Shadowspear, which is really, really nice because that will be able to pump up the Ingenious Smith. And we also get to attack now for 3, and our opponent can't really block it. Interesting. So that's going to become a 3/3. We can Retrofitter Foundry, paying 1. And then we can attack for 6. I'm assuming our opponent has some type of removal, like Fatal Push. Yeah. And then we can Shadowspear. This one we don't have to pay for the Esper Sentinel, because Esper Sentinel only looks for the first non-creature spell. Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Okay. We will then sacrifice the Thopter to make a 4/4. And now, what do we want to do here? Let's equip. And then attack. Now, this does have first strike, so that's why I'm not afraid of just attacking here and why I didn't put the counter on it. Opponent goes to 9, and then we get to Retrofitter Foundry and say go. Also, one of the really, really cool things about this deck, and a lot of decks with Retrofitter Foundry, is that it turns like any draw into a good draw, just because you can use basically all your mana every turn. And that's just something that's really, really cool. Alright, we will discard Yotia Declares War. And we will attack again. Fatal Push, ouch. At 7, then we pay the 2 life for a Barbed Spike. And say go. Now, right now... Our opponent could have a lot of stuff. That's not good for us, right? We can make this a 4/4 and make a servo token if we want to. But there's, you know, a lot that our opponent can do as well. The Kiki Jiki's a little scary, if we're being honest. Because another Crypt City Stalker Connoisseur can kind of lock us out of the game, potentially. Now, we have stuff to do with our mana, right? But it is a concern. Our opponent could have so many different cards in hand. And we'll just, you know, wait to see. Or maybe our opponent timed out, and who knows? Well, I will make a servo. And I think I want to make the 4/4, honestly. I want to make it a 5/5. And maybe our opponent was just thinking a lot about what to do. Because there are a lot, even if our opponent had, like, any removal spell or any creature or anything, right? There's just a lot of different things to potentially consider. Our opponent goes to 2, and I'm fine with that. Alright, our opponent conceded. GG. Interesting. So maybe we do want a Hushbringer if our opponent has a lot of enter the battlefield abilities. I don't know. Or maybe even a Glass Casket. And what do we want over all of that stuff, right? Maybe we don't want the Michiko's Reign of Truth just because it could be potentially not as fantastic. But if we have Hushbringer, we don't really want the Ingenious Smith. They kind of go against each other. Let's go for 2 Hushbringer and 2 Glass Caskets. We'll go for that. The Michiko's Reign of Truth just doesn't necessarily seem to me like a really, really good thing in this matchup because our opponent has lots of removal. So it keeps our permanent count down and can kill the thing in response. And we'd probably rather have more interaction of our own. Well, this is a good hand to keep. We have basically everything we want. And it looks like our opponent is here. We're going to Toolcraft Exemplar. And then next turn, Ingenious Smith with Ornithopter. We are saving the Ornithopter, right? just because we want the trigger on the Ingenious Smith on turn 2. If we cast the Ornithopter now, it doesn't do anything except trigger the Toolcraft Exemplar, right? So you might as well give a +1/+1 counter on the Ingenious Smith. Okay, Fatal Push. So we will fire into Ingenious Smith. Oh, we missed. That always feels terrible, everyone. And it's looking like maybe the portable hole isn't going to do a whole lot here. I guess it can get rid of this token, which... Alright. Let's Ingenious Smith. Alright, at least that found something. Found a land, which, you know, I'm not particularly in love with, but... Portable hole will get rid of the Goblin Shaman. Pump up this, and we get to attack. Also, when your opponent has hand interaction or discard spells, I don't know if we saw Thoughtseize last game, but our opponent likely has that. But we do know our opponent has Cryptic Connoisseur or City Stalker Connoisseur. And that means if we companion Lurrus into our hand without being able to cast it, our opponent can force us to discard it. And so that is something to consider with Lurrus. Now our opponent's choosing what to discard here. Only one. Also, noting what your opponent discards with Fable of the Mirror Breaker is always very, very important. You can get a lot of information from seemingly nothing, and seeing that your opponent discarded only one card means the other cards are probably very good. And I'm going to put the Lurrus in my hand, just because I really want to do stuff with our mana. And if our opponent has a City Stalker Connoisseur... Yeah. And maybe I should have waited. It, like, you know how I was just saying? But it just seemed like we really wanted to do stuff. Or I really did. But now I'm kind of regretting that. I kind of set us up for failure, right? Ouch. Because I really want to... I wanted to show you what you shouldn't be doing. Basically. Ouch. Okay. It tapped our Darksteel. So everyone, we're going to concede after this game, but we wanted to tap red and one of our mana. Or I guess we'll pay this. But this is a very, very bad thing that happened. But we didn't want to automatically tap the Darksteel Citadel because we can go directly to stage 2 and tap Ornithopter and that to then kill the Reflection of Kiki-Jiki. And there's no way we win here, so we're just gonna save our time and do that. Our opponent can act Kiki-Jiki at Seasoned Pyromancer and draw a lot of cards. And so that's very, very bad. So I kind of think we need the Hearse now as something. And Hushbringer seemed like it would be really, really good here. So maybe we want that. And we want it over... Do we want it over Portable Hole? One Portable Hole and one Barbed Spike. Alright, we will play... Need to mulligan that terrible hand. keep this. And hope we can do a lot here. We get to have a lot of 4/4s floating about here with our Retrofitter Foundry and Yotia Declares War. So this is going to put a lot of pressure onto our opponent. We are going to let our opponent draw a card here, though. Because we want to just... Our opponent drawing another card is worth us attacking with 2 4/4s right away. I think. Wonder what our opponent is going to do here. Our opponent is abrading. And so we will do this. And this is a great part for us. So we will tap that to deal 1 to the Esper Sentinel. Attack for that. Then we will cast this Esper Sentinel. And this will allow us, if our opponent does anything a little fishy, to at least draw a card. Which, you know, I kind of like. We'll make that. And then we will Portable Hole. And we win. GG. Well, everyone, thank you for watching me play some Boros aggro artifacts in Historic. This deck is really fun and fantastic, and I wish I could have made a longer video, but, you know, life happens sometimes. And I probably will do more, because this deck is fun, it's powerful, it's good, and what isn't to like about it, right? So I hope you enjoyed this video, and yeah, that's really all I have to say. With all that being said, if you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe. Great way to help support me in this channel. You can also watch me stream live at twitch.tv/TheNerdySteve. I also do coaching, and I also have a Discord, and all those links are down below. Again, thank you so much for being here, and I hope you have a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening wherever you are. Bye.